Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us again as we present this Pivot interview series. I'm Liz, the curator here at the Center of Southwest Studies at Fort Lewis College. And in place of Amy, I'm joined by Gretchen, our archives and library assistant. Today, we are interviewing Landis Bahe, Diné artist, co-curator of the Pivot exhibit, and co-owner of Tatfu Tattoo in Flagstaff, Arizona. Landis, thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Hi, Landis.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Gretchen's going to jump right in here with questions.
So our first question we've got for you today is, how did you come up with the concept of Pivot?
Looking back on it, yeah, it was basically just Dwayne and I coming together and just hanging out. We're full of ideas. We're always wanting to do something, at the type of mindset that we're at currently. We're able to put on a show like that. But basically it just happened over us painting. And we just kind of just blurted out, hey, let's just do this show. And it just started with just that little spark. And then it just adds on. So I think the idea definitely is really interesting. But what's really interesting to me is the progression of what we've done as a team, as a collective, not only just Dwayne and I, but you guys there at Southwest Center for Southwest Studies, Fort Lewis, and then, all of the other museums and galleries that we've been part of. So definitely, that's basically how I view it.
Yeah, and to follow up, what does Pivot mean to you, Landis?
Man. Well, Pivot means a lot of things, but what it really means to me is, just living in a dual world. I'm from a culture that is, like any other culture, it's really ancient. And I can view it from the aspect of, living here in this world, I guess I would refer to Western society, and then viewing it from the lens of a Navajo man, So that's the pivot, to pivot between those two worlds. And what I'm able to do as an individual is I'm able to bring, the artistry, I'm able to express that whole thought through art. So just pivoting back and forth from that life, you can't, it's difficult to be, 100% ingrained in the culture and do everything that I need to do as a Navajo man and my responsibilities, but also here, I got to take out the trash on Mondays, you know what I mean? And it's totally different, the way that we live our lives. It's very, very different, but I'm able to navigate myself just through the conditioning that I've grown up in, being exposed to different religions, my culture, and then also this whole other culture, and then even the subcultures that I involve myself in, as far as tattooing, not necessarily the skateboard community, but the skateboard deck art community, and then just galleries. So that's what it means to me, basically, is just navigating through those two worlds, and then just also navigating with myself as well, through my spirituality, and having that reflect on the physical world, so to say.
Great, thank you. So next, we're interested in how did you first get into art?
It's kind of like eating. When did you first eat in your life? You really don't remember. I don't have any type of recollection of when I decided to become an artist or when I started to do art. I believe that you know, it's just, I was born with that. I was born with not artistic ability, because that takes time to create that skill, and, you know, but the passion to do art, the stubbornness not to quit, the involvement, and the, I'm intrigued with art. So I'm a fan. I'm always looking at things. I'm always seeing how light touches a certain object when the sun is over here, and then when the sun is over there. You know, it's just fascinating to me. So I think ever since I was a little kid, you know, I just always viewed that, you know, and I always view beauty in a lot of objects in the world, you know, like just painting, sculptures. And then, you know, as I got older, you know, it started turning into interactions and experiences, cherishing experiences, and how do I actually convey that emotion, and how do I interpret that experience in visual arts, you know. So, you know, my art journey started when I was way young, you know, as far as, you know, picking up a pencil and looking at a piece of paper and drawing whatever shapes on there. But also, you know, it's really just basically the way that I live my life. You know, I live my life, you know, I know I wear a watch, but sometimes I didn't have a sense of time. As soon as the sun came up, that's when I started. And then when the sun went down and when I went to bed, my whole life, that's art. And there's no other way that I can live. I can kind of like say, okay, I can go get a job, and I can fulfill this part of my, you know, intelligence doing construction or doing any other job, which, you know, I can learn. But being an artist, I think, you know, there's certain things that I've learned about myself that I know that I don't share in common with other people. And some of that is like listening to like just a small tune of a violin and getting a little teary-eyed, you know, because you feel it. And that passion, it carries me. It's the fuel that creates the pivot show. It's the fuel that creates just the smallest little sketch that you do for somebody, because you're changing things. And what you're changing is you're changing thoughts into actual physical things that you can actually touch and see. And I think that's where, if you get in touch with yourself as an artist, and to really honestly and truly push that forward, I think that, you know, that's when you can reach really, really beautiful things. You know, I see it in other artists, man. These people, they create a lot of good art. So my journey in art, that's the best way that I can describe it. You know, it's like, when do you start eating food? You know, that's my food every day, you know, so.
That's a really beautiful
Absolutely.
Answer.
Yeah, it is. Like, you're gonna make me teary-eyed.
Yeah. And then, you know, so one thing is that you share that in common with people. And I also believe, you know, like through just people that I listen to and interact with, is that, you know, it's no accident, you know, that we're right here experiencing this with, you know, both of you. It's meant to happen that way. And there's always something to learn from that on both sides, no matter, and then anyone that's viewing this as well. And that's one of the main drives for Pivot for me, is to touch sentimentally, creativity, and kind of get into that passion of the child that I was, and maybe there might be a child out there now that, or even an artist, and an adult artist that has yet to put himself out there. Not to say that's the biggest accomplishment that is needed in art, but to really just nurture your art, that maybe they might see something like this and then say, oh, you know what, I relate to that. That's how I feel. That's what I think, you know, and then pursue something. And now the gift that I was given, now I can just a little bit, open the door a little bit for somebody else. So you're actually kind of giving it away, you know, so then that whole kind of circle continues, you know.
Yeah. So kind of along the same lines to what you've been talking about, but how do you think art is important in this current time, like with the pandemic and what we're all dealing with?
I think it's good because art is going to give you a break from any type of things that is going on in the mind. You know, a lot of people they're engulfed in fear, you know, and you know, it's legitimate, you know, you're experiencing that. But I think you look at a pretty picture or anything that's interesting, sculpture, you hear music or whatever, it gives yourself a little break, even if that break is just a couple of seconds, gives the mind running at 100 and it starts to run half that at an idle, and it starts to run smoothly, you know. So I think it's really important that art is able to do that for people that are willing to receive that, you know.
Absolutely. And this is also along the same lines, but if you can, what does it mean to be a Native artist? What does it mean to you to be living now and working as an Indigenous artist?
Oh, I think that's a real blessing, you know. I mean, to be born an artist and then to be born a Navajo man, we have a rich culture.
Yes.
And it's still somewhat really intact. I mean, there's things that I've seen that I've been blessed with, that I know that are blessings that I've seen inside hogans, that I've known, that I've seen inside the homes, the language. When you hear it, it means something different. You know, it's like, I experienced that. And that's such a blessing. And now I can take that experience and I can interpret it into visual art, paintings, or even things that I'm kind of involved in, like the Pivot Show, and bringing all this culture and all this art and then presenting it to whatever community that we're able to do. But just being Native American and being an artist, you know, they're not, in my opinion, you know, they're not, it's like being an artist is different than being a Native American, you know. Mm-hmm. Not all Native American are artists and not all artists are Native American. Man, and I've been so lucky and so blessed to be both of them. Mm-hmm. And then also to just to have such a life that I'm surrounded by just wonderful people, wonderful talent. I mean, like these people, you two there, you guys have your own things that you guys are very talented in, and I'm blessed to be a part of that. But I'm also blessed to experience a medicine man and a Hogan and smell that his shirt smells like him. And those that understand that, they know, but those that don't, they will never understand that. But there's a sense of comfort there, you know, and you know, all of it's healing too, you know. So it's something that I can go on all day about. But you know, I hope that answers the question. You know, as far as, you know, being Native American and being an artist, and you know how it affects me, I guess, you know.
Full sensory for you. Okay, so this is the last question, and it's basically about you as a tattoo artist. You're also, you know, you're a traditional artist and a tattoo artist, and how did you become a tattoo artist, and how did those two things influence each other?
Well, I started my tattoo career out of necessity, because I literally couldn't pay my bills with just relying on trying to sell a painting. I mean, I was selling paintings for $40, $20, you know. Oh no, the light bill's due this week. I got to make $120. So if I sell maybe 4 paintings, early on in my career, a lot of people got really lucky, you know, like, and I was lucky too to get the money so I can turn on the lights. But, you know, I needed to find something that was going to produce some income. So my thoughts initially were that I'm going to tattoo just little small tattoos because I know I can. But in the back, I'm going to create paintings.
Yeah.
But once I got a hold and got a little insight into the tattoo culture, it grabbed me because it's so interesting. There's so many different things that happen within tattooing, in the history of tattooing, the subculture that we live in. We don't live in the culture of the society of where we like our 9-to-5 workers. You know, we kind of have our own way of living and our own way of working, I should say, of making money, and being able to provide for ourselves. But tattooing is so interesting. It's very, very interesting. There's not a lifetime. There's more knowledge in tattooing and more experiences and more different things that you can explore that you can't cover it, and I don't think that you can master it in a lifetime, just like painting. So you just putting one drop in that bucket, and then hopefully, you know, you can pour that cool, refreshing water onto somebody else in your lifetime, pass it on. And I think that's important for me to do with not only tattooing, painting, pivot, all these things that I involve myself in art, but yeah, tattooing grabbed me by the collar and was like, you know, pulled me in. So it kind of took a precedence, and there was a time where I actually put down painting for a couple of years, and I just focused on just trying to make my lines right. But then also tattooing is healing to me too, just as painting and art is all healing, I think, because the first person that heals is me, because I see it and I experience it, and it's good for my mind, and then I share it. Same thing with tattooing is when I experience it, not only with just the art, but with the people that come in here, they help me in my life and my journey too. So it's a necessity for me these days, and I don't see myself quitting and giving up ever. You know, it's just, I will always be involved in it. So.
Good. Well, you know, I can say that whoever got your $20, $40 paintings and whoever gets a tattoo by you are both very, very lucky, because your work is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today, Landis. This was great.
Can I just say a couple of things real quick? I know that we're might be a little pressed on time, but I just want to thank everybody at Fort Lewis. I want to thank you, Liz, Gretchen, Amy, and everyone that was involved in the pivot. You know, this is a dream that we had, an idea, a dream, but to have it on the platform that you guys have put it on is like, I could never think that far. So the necessity and the way that you guys came together and took it and put it up where you guys are taking it is so exciting. And I'm the one that's sitting back and looking at that. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the city of Durango. And I want to thank Dwayne. I want to thank everybody that has allowed me to do and experience this here. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys a lot. So, and, you know, just my family too, my, that people that support me, you know, that love me. And so I want to say that before we end.
It's been a wonderful experience, and it's such a neat community, and so I'm excited that we're sharing more of it.
I'm too. I think this is, I mean, we're having fun, and this is great. So thank you so much. I do have to plug our social media for everybody out there watching. Go see Landis's work on Instagram at Landis Bahe, LandisBahe, at Tatfu Tattoo. You can see his tattoo work and his partners at Tatfu Tattoo. Sorry, I'm cheating and reading off a page so I don't misspell. Also, check out Pivot Skateboard Deck Exhibit at pivot_skateboard_deck_exhibit. And lastly, come see us at the Center of Southwest Studies, Center SW Studies FLC. Thank you so much for coming and watching us today. Thanks for tuning in, and come back next week as we interview more artists. Thank
More
you.
interviews to come.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Landis.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Landis.